Hello, friends, and welcome to the next edition of my podcast. Today's title is What a Fabulous Hotel. Actually, we're not going to talk very much about hotels today. I'd like to talk more about Airbnb. Do you know what Airbnb is? Well, it's a company which allows you to use your rooms or your spare houses if you're lucky to have one, so that you can make a little bit of extra money. That means that when you go on holiday, you can choose to stay maybe in a hotel or in Airbnb. Which one do you prefer? I actually like both. There's advantages and disadvantages for both. So I want to talk more today about rooms in hotels and rooms in Airbnb, how to describe them. So when you come back from your holiday, how can you talk to your friends about these rooms? Well, let's first have a look at this room. This looks like a pretty nice room. It has 2 double beds, but how would you describe it? Can you think of any describing words? Here are some words for you to take a look at, and I want you to tell me if they have a positive meaning or a negative meaning. Let's have a look at them. Cozy, cramped, filthy, damp, homely, airy, bright. All you need to do is decide, is the word positive in its meaning or negative? Let's look at the first one together. My hotel room was really cozy. What do you think that means? Is it positive or is it negative? Well, it's positive. Cozy is the positive way to say small. So you could have a room which is really small but still really nice because the furniture is comfortable and the way that they have decorated the room is appealing to the eye. On the other hand, we have the word cramped, which is a negative meaning, and it's basically the opposite of the word cozy. So if a cozy room is nice and small, a cramped room is not very nice and small. So really there's no room to move at all. Maybe the bed is far too big for the room. Maybe you don't have enough space to hang your clothes. So this is cramped. What does filthy mean? Is it a good word or is it a bad word? Well, it's a bad word. Filthy simply means that it's extremely dirty. You could say this about many things. So you can say, my shoes are filthy. The floor is filthy. You could even say my hotel room was filthy. Now, it's very unlikely that a hotel room will be filthy simply because there are cleaners every day. I have a story about my Airbnb experience which maybe will shed a little bit more light on this idea that a room can be filthy when you go on holiday. Listen more a little bit later. What about the word damp? Do you know what damp means? Very simply, it means a little bit wet. So if you can imagine a room which has lots of condensation, on the walls you can see these black marks, that is called damp. It's very similar to after you've taken a shower. How does your towel feel after you have taken a shower? Well, it feels damp. That's the feeling. It's a little bit wet. How can you use the word homely? What does homely mean? Well, simply it means it makes you feel like you're at home. So it's a good word. The hotel room was really homely. It was cozy and homely. Good. Next we have the word airy. What does airy mean? Well, airy means there's lots of air, so it's really spacious. There's lots of space. So maybe the ceiling is very high. There's lots of windows, and that will also mean that it's very bright. So bright and airy are often go together, so you would say the room was really bright and airy. So you've heard some of these adjectives. I'd like to now tell you my Airbnb story. Are you ready? Well, last year I decided to book a short vacation holiday with my friend, and we went to a part of Australia called Queensland, which is kind of in the northeast of Australia. Lots of surfing and really beautiful beaches, super weather, tropical, nice all year round. So I decided to book an Airbnb. I have lots of good experiences with Airbnb, nothing really majorly problematic. lots of good experiences in the past, met some really nice people, and so I thought that I would take a risk and do Airbnb again. However, it was a risk because the Airbnb person who was listing their room was a new Airbnb host. So I wanted to take a risk and say, well, if this person is a new host, they need to have their first guest. So I decided to book the room. The room looked really nice. It had 2 bedrooms and there was access to the swimming pool. It was separate from their main house, so it was like a little cottage, which looked really nice. It was in the forest, the beautiful pictures. When my friend and I arrived at the Airbnb, the hosts were not there to greet us. They left the key in the door and we opened the door and went inside. And immediately I noticed that something was wrong. The place was filthy. It was extremely dirty. In the kitchen, there were ants which were crawling on the kitchen counter. That means there were many ants walking on the kitchen counter. So there was some sugar or some sweet thing that was in the kitchen, and there were thousands of ants all over the kitchen. Within 4 minutes, there was mosquitoes inside the room, lots and lots of mosquitoes, and they bit me. They bit me many times, probably about 5 or 6 times in just 4 minutes. And I said to my friend, we cannot stay here. It's impossible. I couldn't sleep there, especially knowing how dirty it was. So I said to him, right, we're going to get a hotel and we're getting out of here. So before I could even meet the host of the Airbnb, I had to message them on the Airbnb app to tell them that I had checked out of the Airbnb room because it was simply too dirty. It was totally filthy. I literally could never have stayed there, even if I wanted to try and be polite. Have you ever had any experiences like this? Have you ever stayed somewhere that you really didn't like, that wasn't very clean? What about any experiences when you've had fantastic holidays, when you've had better than expected room service? Can you think of any other words that would go with hotel rooms? Maybe list them in the comments below. There's literally hundreds of words that you could use, so try to think of those, especially when you go on holiday to a country and you have to explain things in English. Having these words is extremely important. As usual, thanks so much for listening, guys. It really means a lot to me. It's excellent practice for your listening skills, so please, please, please do me a favour and share on Instagram. If you have any friends who are maybe learning English, please tag them in the post. This will allow me to continue to give you free lessons. Remember, I do this in my own free time, and it's really important. I want to make English for everybody, so I can do that by you sharing these podcasts. Also, if you're watching on my website, I want to be a little bit cheeky and ask you a question. If you see any of the advertisements on my website, just do me a favour and click any of the advertisements. That will also help me to ensure I give free lessons to you. I will continue to give free lessons. I will always give free lessons. So you can help me by clicking any of the advertisements on my website. That will help me. Super. Thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you soon again. Take care. Bye-bye.